Your thoughts are not harmless, they are instructions. Every day, your mind is running the show, quietly, consistently. It's telling you what's possible, what's not, what you deserve, and what you'll settle for. And here's the hard truth. Most people never stop to question what they're thinking. They just react, repeat, and relive the same results. This isn't about hype. This is about finally understanding how your thinking builds your reality. Because when you shift what goes on in your mind, you shift what shows up in your life. This video will show you what no one teaches in school, how your thoughts decide your habits, your confidence, your focus, and your future. This is not about motivation that fades in an hour. It's about lasting change that starts with one decision: to take control of your thinking. Watch until the end. If you're serious about becoming better, this will change the way you think and the way you live. Chapter 1. Control thoughts create your reality. You see, everything begins in the mind. The way a person thinks shapes what they become. Life doesn't just happen by accident, it follows the direction of your thoughts. When the mind is scattered, life is scattered. When the mind is focused, life begins to take shape. What you hold in your thoughts every day becomes the script you live by. It determines how you speak, how you feel, how you act, and eventually what kind of results you create. That's why controlling your thoughts is the first real step toward controlling your life. Most people never stop to notice what's really happening in their own minds. Thoughts run wild all day, and many of them aren't useful. They tell you you're not enough. They replay mistakes. They predict failure before you even try. These thoughts seem harmless, but they slowly become the foundation of how you see yourself. If you think you can't, you won't. If you think life is hard, it will be. If you think you don't deserve better, you'll never try for it. The mind is not just reacting to life, it's building it. So, the question is, what kind of thoughts are you building with? Every morning, every hour, your mind is constructing the path ahead. You can't build success out of self-doubt. You can't build happiness out of constant worry. You can't build peace while holding anger in your thoughts. You become what you think, and your thinking is your blueprint. A strong mind builds a strong life. A weak and distracted mind builds confusion. To take control of your thoughts, you must first become aware of them. Awareness is power. Notice the tone of your inner voice. Notice how often you say negative things to yourself that you would never say to another person. When you catch yourself doing it, stop and question it. Is it true? Is it helping you? If not, you have to choose better thoughts, because thoughts are choices, not habits. You are not your thoughts, you are the thinker behind them. That difference changes everything. When you start choosing your thoughts intentionally, you change your emotions, your energy, and your confidence. Think about this. When you focus on problems, you feel heavy. When you focus on progress, you feel strong. When you focus on what you can control, life feels lighter. That's not magic, that's psychology. Your thoughts drive your emotional state, and your emotions drive your actions. Control your thoughts, and you take back control of your life's direction. Success doesn't start with skill, it starts with mindset. Two people can be in the same situation, but one thinks opportunity, the other thinks struggle. The situation is the same, the difference is in the thinking. The one who believes there's something to learn, something to gain, finds a way. The one who believes it's hopeless gives up. That's how powerful thinking is. Your thoughts decide which doors you see and which ones you walk through. When you wake up each day, your first thoughts set the tone. If you begin your day thinking about everything wrong, you'll carry that mood with you. But if you begin by thinking of what's possible, what's in your control, what you're grateful for, you'll move through the day with purpose. You train your mind like you train your body. It grows stronger through daily practice. Every time you challenge a negative thought and replace it with something empowering, you're rewiring your mind for success. Some people say, "I can't help what I think." That's not true. You can't stop thoughts from showing up, but you can choose which ones to feed. It's like watching a channel. If you don't like what's on, change it. You don't have to sit there and watch something that makes you feel worse. The same goes for your mind. When fear comes in, notice it, but don't live there. When doubt shows up, acknowledge it, but don't give it power. Every time you redirect your focus, you build mental strength. Your thoughts are like the roots of a tree. What you plant grows quietly beneath the surface until it becomes visible in your actions, your habits, and your results. That's why you can't afford to think carelessly. Every thought is an instruction to your future. If you think small, you live small. If you think brave, you act brave. If you think growth, you'll grow. The outer life always follows the inner one. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing thoughts that help you face what's real without losing your power. When you face a problem, instead of saying, "I can't handle this," say, "I will find a way." That small shift in thought changes your behavior completely. You start looking for solutions instead of feeling helpless. That's what happens when you take control of your thinking. You stop being a passenger in your own life and become the driver. Many people live on autopilot. They think whatever comes to mind without realizing how it shapes their world. They spend years reinforcing old beliefs, beliefs that tell them they're not capable, that things never work out, that other people get the breaks. But when you step back and question those beliefs, you begin to see they're not facts. They're just old thoughts, repeated so many times they started to feel true. The good news is, you can create new ones. Start by asking yourself powerful questions. What do I want to think today? What kind of person do I want to be? What would I think if I already had the life I want? Asking questions like this moves your mind from automatic to intentional. You start thinking from possibility instead of limitation. When you think that way often enough, it becomes natural. Controlling your thoughts doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means guiding them. Thoughts create feelings, and feelings guide action. So if you want to act better, feel better, and live better, begin with what's happening in your head. It's all connected. When you think you can grow, your brain starts finding ways to grow. When you think you can heal, you begin to heal. When you think you can improve, you take action. Sometimes people ask how to start changing their thoughts. Start small. Begin with awareness. Every time you notice a thought that brings you down, pause and replace it. Instead of, "I can't do this," say, "I'm learning how." Instead of, "This always goes wrong," say, "I can make it better this time." Those small shifts change how you feel and act. Over time, they change everything. It's not about forcing fake positivity, it's about building a mindset that serves you instead of breaking you. Imagine spending your days thinking thoughts that strengthen you instead of weaken you. Thoughts that remind you of what you can control, of how far you've come, of what's still possible. That kind of thinking doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you effective. You make better choices, take smarter risks, and stay steady under pressure. The mind is your foundation, and when it's strong, you can handle more than you ever thought possible. Take a moment each day to check your thinking. Ask yourself, is what I'm thinking helping me or hurting me? That question alone can redirect your entire day. You'll notice that most stress and frustration come not from the events themselves, but from how you think about them. Change the thought, and the feeling follows. You gain control where most people lose it, in the quiet space between what happens and how you respond. You are capable of building a stronger mind, one that doesn't fall apart when life gets tough, one that stays calm and focused when things go wrong. But it starts with mastering your thoughts. The person who learns to control their mind can control their destiny. The one who doesn't becomes a victim of circumstance. Everything depends on that simple daily choice to guide your thinking or to be guided by it. Every great achievement starts in someone's mind. Before success ever showed up in reality, it was first a thought that someone believed enough to act on. That's why controlling your thoughts is not optional, it's essential. If you don't believe in what you're doing, you'll never give it your best. If you think it's impossible, you'll never try. Your mind can be your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. So today, make it your mission to train your mind to work for you, not against you. Speak truth to yourself. Feed it goals, gratitude, and growth. Keep it focused on what matters. Protect it from negativity and comparison. Build it daily with learning, reflection, and discipline, because the quality of your mind decides the quality of your life. You become what you think. If you think peace, you'll find peace. If you think strength, you'll act strong. If you think growth, you'll keep growing. Life responds to your thoughts. Control them, and you control your future. The mind is everything, train it well, and it will build the life you've always wanted. Chapter 2. Choose beliefs that build strength. Beliefs are the roots of every action, emotion, and decision you make. They sit deep in your mind, quietly shaping the direction of your life. What you believe about yourself decides what you try, how you respond to failure, and how you see your future. Every human being builds a life that matches their strongest beliefs, whether those beliefs are empowering or limiting. You cannot rise higher than what you believe is possible for you. The good news is that beliefs are not fixed. They can be changed, rebuilt, and strengthened. The mind becomes what it believes, and those beliefs become the foundation of who you are. Most people never stop to question what they believe about themselves. They carry opinions they picked up years ago, words from parents, teachers, or friends that were never tested. A single sentence like, "You're not smart enough," or "You'll never make it," can turn into a lifelong belief if you repeat it long enough. The human mind treats repetition as truth. If you tell yourself something every day, your brain starts looking for evidence to prove it. That's why it's so important to build beliefs that give you strength instead of ones that hold you back. You can't think weak and live strong. The first step is to understand what beliefs are running your life. They're not always loud. Sometimes they hide in quiet thoughts like, "I don't deserve better," or "People like me never win." They're small, but they control everything. Take a moment to look at your patterns. What do you tell yourself when you fail? What do you say when someone compliments you? Do you reject it or accept it? That reaction reveals what you truly believe about your worth. Awareness opens the door to change. Once you see the beliefs that weaken you, don't fight them, replace them. Fighting keeps them alive. Replacement rewires your mind. Begin to build beliefs that match the life you want. If you want strength, believe that you can grow stronger every day. If you want peace, believe that you have the power to stay calm even when life gets hard. Beliefs are like internal rules. They decide what's possible for you. Rewrite those rules one by one until they serve your growth instead of your fear. Building strong beliefs takes consistency. You can't just say it once and expect it to stick. You must feed your mind every day with proof that your new belief is real. When you act on it, even in small ways, your brain begins to accept it as truth. For example, if you want to believe that you are confident, don't wait to feel confident. Speak clearly in a conversation, stand tall, and hold eye contact. Every small action becomes evidence that reinforces your new belief. Confidence is not a feeling you wait for, it's a belief you build through repetition and proof. Human beings grow in the direction of their strongest belief. If you believe you can improve, you'll find ways to do it. If you believe you're stuck, your mind will close to new possibilities. It's not the world that limits you most of the time, it's your belief about the world. Strong beliefs are not built from fantasy, they are built from courage. It takes courage to believe in yourself when results haven't shown up yet. But that's where true strength begins. Every person who changed their life started by believing something new before it was visible. It's easy to believe when everything goes right. The challenge is to keep believing when nothing goes your way. That's when your mind is tested. Strong beliefs aren't formed in comfort, they're formed in challenge. When you fail, your mind will whisper, "See, you can't do it." That's when you must choose a stronger belief. Tell yourself, this is just feedback, not a final result. What matters most is what you tell yourself right after you fall. That moment decides whether you rise or stay down. Strength comes from the thoughts you repeat when you're tired, not when you're excited. You can't borrow beliefs from other people. You can learn from them, but your mind must accept them through your own experience. If someone tells you you're capable, that's good, but if you don't believe it, it won't change your life. You must prove it to yourself through action. Every step you take builds evidence. Belief grows stronger through personal experience, not just words. So, take one step, even if it's small. Every win, every effort, every moment of progress adds another layer of belief that says, "I can do this." There's a simple truth in human psychology. What the mind expects, the body follows. When you believe you can handle stress, your brain sends signals that calm the body. When you believe you're safe, your system relaxes. When you believe you're in control, your actions become steady. The mind leads, the body follows. That's why beliefs are not just mental, they affect your physical energy, your tone of voice, your confidence in a room, and your ability to stay grounded. You can feel belief, it changes your presence. To choose beliefs that build strength, you must challenge the ones that weaken you. If you believe you're unlucky, ask yourself, is that always true? Look for times when things worked out. You'll find evidence that your old belief wasn't a fact, it was just a filter. The brain looks for what you tell it to see. If you believe life is unfair, you'll notice unfairness everywhere. If you believe life has opportunities, you'll start spotting them in small details. Both kinds of people live in the same world. Their beliefs decide what they see. Strong beliefs are realistic but empowering. They don't deny the difficulty of life. They remind you that you can handle it. They say, "Yes, this is hard, but I've faced hard things before." They keep you balanced. Weak beliefs crumble under stress. Strong ones carry you through it. Every person who achieves lasting growth holds on to one central belief, that they are capable of learning and improving no matter what happens. That belief turns setbacks into steps forward. It's important to understand that beliefs are not just thoughts, they are feelings you've accepted as truth. That's why it's hard to change them quickly. You can't just think your way out. You must feel your way into a new belief by creating real experiences that prove it. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your strength. Spend time in environments that reflect growth and possibility. The mind absorbs energy from what it sees and hears daily. If your surroundings are filled with doubt, your beliefs weaken. If your surroundings encourage growth, your beliefs strengthen naturally. Beliefs are contagious. If you spend time around people who constantly speak of what they can't do, you'll begin to think the same. But if you spend time with those who talk about what they're learning, building, and becoming, your own belief system rises. That's why it's essential to protect your mental space. What you listen to, watch, and repeat becomes your mental diet. Feed your mind the thoughts that nourish strength. The world is already filled with doubt. You don't need to add your own to it. Every time you say, "I can't," your mind stops searching. But when you say, "I'll find a way," your brain activates creativity. That's the psychology of belief. It either opens or closes the mind. The words you use become signals to your subconscious, guiding how you think and act. That's why changing your language is one of the fastest ways to change your belief. Instead of saying, "I always fail," say, "I'm learning what doesn't work." Instead of, "I'm bad at this," say, "I'm improving every time." Your words teach your brain what to believe. There will always be moments when your old beliefs try to return. They'll whisper reminders of fear and past pain. That's normal. But remember, thoughts lose power when you stop believing them. When you recognize an old belief that no longer serves you, see it for what it is: a thought that used to protect you, but no longer fits the person you're becoming. Thank it, release it, and replace it. You can't erase your past, but you can outgrow it by choosing beliefs that make you stronger today. True strength is quiet. It doesn't come from pretending to be perfect. It comes from knowing who you are and what you believe in, even when life gets noisy. It's the calm confidence that comes from saying, "I trust myself to handle whatever comes." That kind of belief cannot be bought or faked. It's built one decision at a time. Every time you choose faith over fear, patience over panic, growth over giving up, you are reinforcing the belief that you are capable. Over time, that belief becomes unshakable. When you control your beliefs, you don't need external approval to feel strong. You start operating from the inside out. You no longer need others to remind you of your worth. You already know it. You stop chasing validation because your confidence comes from what you've proven to yourself. That's real freedom. That's mental strength at its highest level. The world becomes less about proving and more about growing. Each day is another chance to build your beliefs stronger than they were yesterday. You won't get it right every time, but that's not the goal. The goal is progress. The goal is to live with more awareness, more courage, and more truth in how you see yourself. The mind is everything, and the beliefs you choose are the architects of your future. Choose ones that lift you. Choose ones that remind you of your power. Choose beliefs that help you grow through life, not shrink from it. Because what you believe is what you become, and when your beliefs are strong, your life becomes strong too.
Chapter 3. Train mind to see possibility. The human mind is powerful, yet it's naturally drawn toward what's wrong, what's missing, or what might go wrong next. This habit is not weakness, it's survival instinct. The brain evolved to notice threats faster than opportunities, but the truth is, in the modern world, this instinct can hold you back more than it protects you. To grow, succeed, and live with peace, you must train your mind to see possibility instead of limitation. The world you live in is shaped by what your mind focuses on. When you train it to see what can be done instead of what can't, you unlock a kind of strength that changes everything. Most people live in a pattern of mental reaction. They see a challenge, and their first thought is, "This is too much." They face rejection and instantly assume, "I'm not good enough." They meet failure and decide, "Maybe I should stop." These are automatic responses that come from years of focusing on the negative. The mind has learned to expect the worst, not because it's true, but because it's familiar. The good news is, you can retrain that. You can teach your brain to look for openings instead of obstacles. You can recondition it to ask, "What can I learn here?" instead of "Why did this happen to me?" Possibility thinking doesn't ignore reality. It doesn't pretend everything is perfect. It simply asks better questions. It's about shifting your focus from the problem to the path. When something goes wrong, your mind can either shut down or open up. The difference is practice. A trained mind knows that every situation, no matter how hard, contains a chance to grow, learn, or improve something. The untrained mind only sees loss. When you start teaching yourself to look for what's possible, life begins to reveal more options than you ever noticed before. Every opportunity begins with a thought. The people who build great things aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They just see what others overlook. When everyone else focuses on reasons something won't work, they're busy looking for one way it could. That's the power of possibility. It doesn't guarantee success, but it keeps you in motion, and motion is where progress lives. The more you practice seeing possibility, the more your brain begins to connect ideas, notice patterns, and generate solutions on its own. You train it to work for you instead of against you. Training your mind to see possibility starts with awareness. Pay attention to your automatic reaction. Notice when your first thought leans toward fear or doubt. Don't judge it, just observe it. Then gently redirect it. Ask yourself, is there another way to see this? What could I do differently here? Or, what might this teach me? These questions open mental doors that negativity keeps closed. Every time you ask them, you're strengthening the muscle of perspective. Over time, this becomes second nature. You'll start noticing solutions faster than you notice setbacks. People who see possibility are not blind to difficulty. They're just unwilling to stop there. They know that every limitation is temporary if they stay curious. Curiosity is the heart of a strong mind. It keeps you exploring, learning, and improving. When you face something new, instead of saying, "I don't know how," say, "I can learn." That simple shift changes how your brain processes information. It moves from shutdown to engagement. The moment you believe there's a way forward, your brain begins searching for it. You've probably met people who see opportunity in everything. They're not unrealistic, they're trained. They've built the habit of asking, what can be done, while others complain about what can't. This mindset turns ordinary moments into chances for growth. It's why some people succeed despite facing more obstacles than others. They've developed a vision that looks past the immediate problem and focuses on what can emerge from it. Every problem carries potential, but you'll never find it if you're focused only on what's missing. Think about how you interpret failure. Most people see it as a wall, but a trained mind sees it as feedback. It asks, what didn't work, and how can I improve next time? That small change in interpretation transforms your energy. Instead of frustration, you feel curiosity. Instead of quitting, you adjust. That's how progress happens. You build resilience, confidence, and wisdom by constantly turning experiences into lessons. Every lesson expands your capacity to see more possibilities in the future. The mind learns through repetition. If you constantly expose it to negativity, it becomes efficient at spotting what's wrong. But if you consistently feed it possibility, it learns to look for what's right. This isn't about blind optimism, it's about mental conditioning. What you focus on grows stronger. If you wake up every day thinking about what could go wrong, you train your nervous system to expect stress. But if you start the day by asking, what can I make better today, you train it to expect opportunity. Over time, this rewires your entire emotional state. To train your mind effectively, you need structure. One powerful exercise is reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself 3 questions. What went well? What could I learn? What can I do better tomorrow? This trains your brain to review your day through the lens of growth rather than regret. It helps you identify progress instead of perfection. It keeps your attention on improvement, and that mindset builds momentum. People who reflect regularly grow faster because they're always learning from their own experiences. Another practice is visualization. Imagine yourself facing a challenge successfully. Picture the steps, the calm, the problem solving. This mental rehearsal trains your brain to recognize possibility before the moment even arrives. When the real challenge comes, you'll feel prepared, not panicked. Athletes, leaders and high performers all use this technique because it strengthens neural pathways associated with success. The more vividly you imagine positive outcomes, the more confident and capable you become in real situations. You can also train your mind through the company you keep. Surround yourself with people who see solutions instead of excuses. Their energy will influence yours. If you spend time around constant complainers, your mind begins to adopt their limitations. But if you spend time around people who talk about ideas, goals and improvements, your thinking expands. Environment matters. The energy of possibility is contagious. It lifts you to a higher level of awareness and action. A mind trained for possibility doesn't deny fear. It uses it as data. Fear simply points to what matters to you. When you learn to see it that way, you stop running from it and start learning from it. Ask yourself, what is this fear trying to tell me? Often it's a signal that you care deeply about something. Instead of letting it stop you, let it guide you. The strongest people in the world still feel fear. They just interpret it differently. They use it as motivation instead of a warning to quit. The human mind thrives on meaning. When you attach a sense of purpose to your challenges, they stop feeling like punishment and start feeling like preparation. You begin to see setbacks as part of the process, not signs of failure. This is how you keep hope alive even in difficult times. Possibility thinking doesn't come from denying pain. It comes from understanding it. Pain becomes fuel when you believe it's shaping you into someone stronger. One of the biggest obstacles to seeing possibility is comparison. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you blind yourself to your own growth. A trained mind doesn't compete with people, it competes with its own past. It asks, am I better than I was yesterday? That question keeps you focused on personal progress. Comparison creates scarcity thinking, but self-improvement creates abundance. When you focus on your own lane, you see endless room to grow. Another powerful way to train your mind is through gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's working. It opens your awareness to abundance, and that state of awareness breeds creativity. When you feel grateful, your brain releases chemicals that reduce stress and increase clarity. From that clarity, new ideas appear. You start to see opportunities where before you saw obstacles. Gratitude is not just an emotion. It's a tool for expanding perception. Over time, possibility thinking changes how you handle challenges. Instead of reacting with frustration, you pause, you analyze, you adapt. You start asking questions that lead to solutions instead of problems. You stop wasting energy on what you can't change and use it to build what you can. That's when growth becomes constant. You don't wait for motivation. You create it through your focus. You don't need the world to change. You change how you see it. There's a quiet power that comes from living with a mind that sees possibilities everywhere. It gives you patience when results take time. It gives you resilience when things fall apart. It helps you trust yourself, even when the path ahead isn't clear. You start to believe that every difficulty carries a lesson, and every delay hides a reason. That belief keeps you calm, centered, and determined. You no longer need everything to be easy, you just need it to be meaningful. The key is practice. Just like training a muscle, your mind grows through consistent effort. The more you practice seeing possibility, the faster it becomes natural. Soon you'll notice you're handling situations differently. Where you once saw problems, you now see choices. Where you once felt overwhelmed, you now feel capable. That's not luck. That's the reward of mental training. A strong mind doesn't eliminate struggle. It transforms how you face it. When you train your mind to see possibility, you open yourself to growth that never stops. You start living from creation instead of reaction. You no longer wait for things to change. You start changing things yourself. You find freedom in the simple truth that there's always something you can do, something you can learn, and something you can become. That mindset builds unshakable confidence, the kind that stays steady through every season of life. You don't need a perfect life to feel powerful. You need a trained mind, a mind that sees possibility in failure, opportunity in challenge, and lessons in pain. Every great transformation begins with one decision: to focus on what's possible instead of what's missing. The moment you make that choice, your world begins to expand. The limits you thought were real start to fade, and you begin to live with vision, strength, and purpose. The mind is everything, and when it's trained to see possibility, there is no limit to what you can become.
Chapter 4. Replace doubt with clear focus. Doubt is the quiet voice that tries to pull you away from progress. It doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells you to wait, to slow down, to second guess. It plants hesitation in the space where clarity should live. Every person who's ever achieved something great has faced that voice. But what separates the ones who move forward from the ones who stop is how they deal with it. You can't erase doubt entirely, but you can replace it with clear focus, consistent direction, and a mind trained to move with purpose instead of fear. When you begin anything new, doubt often arrives first. It questions your ability, your timing, your potential. It reminds you of the times you've failed and tells you this time won't be different. That's how doubt works. It thrives on the past and hides in uncertainty. But here's the truth. Doubt isn't the problem. The real problem is allowing it to take control of your focus. Focus is power. When your mind is focused, it cuts through confusion, filters out noise, and brings your energy into one direction. Without focus, even the strongest talent becomes scattered and weak. With focus, even an ordinary effort becomes extraordinary. Clarity begins with deciding what matters most. When you know what you want, you naturally start to ignore what doesn't. That's how focus builds itself. But most people try to move forward while carrying every possible worry. They want to achieve success while thinking about failure. They want to grow while doubting their worth. That split focus drains energy and leaves you stuck in the middle, too afraid to stop, but too uncertain to go all in. Replacing doubt starts with committing to a clear vision, one that doesn't change every time fear shows up. Your mind can't hold two dominant thoughts at once. It can't fully believe and fully doubt at the same time. One will always win. When you direct your thoughts toward clarity, when you remind yourself why you started, what you want, and who you're becoming, you take power away from doubt. Doubt feeds on confusion. Clarity starves it. The clearer your goal, the quieter your fear becomes. That's why some people seem fearless. They're not immune to doubt. They just stay so focused that doubt never gets room to grow. To build clear focus, you must understand your priorities. Ask yourself, what deserves my full attention today? Not what's urgent, but what truly matters. Many people confuse activity with progress. They move constantly, but never get closer to their goal because they're focused on everything at once. Focus isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters with precision. When you align your thoughts with a clear purpose, your actions gain direction, and your energy multiplies. Doubt thrives in uncertainty, so clarity must be intentional. You can't wait for it, you create it. You do that by setting specific goals, writing them down, and reviewing them daily. The human mind needs reminders. Without them, it drifts back into distraction. When your goals are written and visible, they act as a compass.
They pull you back to what's important every time you get lost in overthinking. Clarity is not a one-time decision, it's a daily discipline. One reason doubt feels so strong is because it hides behind logic. It sounds reasonable. It says, what if it doesn't work, or what if you're not ready? Those sound like responsible questions, but they lead nowhere. Clear focus replaces those questions with better ones. What's one thing I can do today to make it work? What can I learn to become ready? When your questions shift from fear to action, you stop feeding doubt and start fueling progress. There's something powerful about taking one step at a time. Most doubt comes from looking too far ahead. You see the mountain instead of the next step. The mind gets overwhelmed and begins to doubt. But when you focus on what's right in front of you, on what you can do today, you build momentum. Every small victory strengthens belief. Momentum is the enemy of doubt. Once you start moving, your focus grows stronger and fear starts to lose its grip. Clear focus also comes from simplifying your environment. The more distractions you have, the easier it is for doubt to creep in. Clean your space, reduce mental noise, and remove unnecessary decisions. Decision fatigue feeds uncertainty. When you free your mind from small, meaningless choices, you create room for clarity. A focused life is not built by doing everything. It's built by protecting your attention from everything that doesn't matter. Sometimes focus requires saying no to opportunities, to people, to habits that don't align with your direction. Every no to distraction is a yes to progress. The clearer your focus, the easier these decisions become. You stop feeling guilty for protecting your time because you know what you're working toward. People who lack clarity often chase everything because they don't know what truly matters. Those with focus move slower, but they move deliberately, and they reach farther. Doubt doesn't disappear when you get clarity, it just loses influence. It becomes background noise instead of a command. You acknowledge it, but don't obey it. The difference between successful and frustrated people is not the absence of doubt, it's the ability to move forward despite it. Clear focus gives you that power. It grounds you in purpose, so that no amount of uncertainty can pull you off track. One of the strongest ways to build focus is through repetition. Remind yourself daily of your purpose. Read your goals every morning and every night. Speak them out loud. The brain learns through repetition. If you repeat fear, you'll live in fear. If you repeat purpose, you'll live with direction. Over time, your mind becomes conditioned to stay centered on what matters most. That's how focus becomes natural. It's trained, not gifted. Visualization strengthens focus. Close your eyes and see yourself completing the goal. Feel the satisfaction, the confidence, the calm. The more clearly you imagine the result, the stronger your belief becomes. Doubt fades when the mind has a clear picture of success. It's hard to fear what you can already see. Visualization doesn't replace effort. It aligns your mind so your effort becomes sharper. Every athlete, leader, and performer uses it because it trains the brain to expect success. Expectation directs behavior. Clear focus also comes from purpose-driven action. You can think positively all day, but if you don't act, your mind starts doubting again. Action builds certainty. Every task completed adds proof that your direction is right. Every time you follow through, your brain records that evidence. Over time, it starts trusting you. That trust is powerful. It's the foundation of confidence. Doubt loses strength when your actions and words align consistently. Many people lose focus because they chase perfection. They want to be flawless before they begin. But perfection is just another form of doubt wearing a mask of high standard. It tells you to delay, to overthink, to wait for the perfect time. Clear focus removes that pressure. It says, start now, learn as you go. That approach builds progress faster than endless preparation ever could. You can always adjust the path, but you can't adjust a journey that never starts. Clarity isn't a mood, it's a practice. You won't always feel certain. There will be days when your direction feels blurred, and your motivation fades. That's when discipline matters most. Focus is not about excitement, it's about consistency. It's showing up even when your emotions tell you to stop. When you keep going on those days, you strengthen mental discipline. And your doubt starts realizing it no longer controls your mission. Another key to replacing doubt is learning how to manage your internal dialogue. Listen to the words you use with yourself. When you catch thoughts like "I might fail," replace them with "I'll find a way." Your brain follows your language. Words are not just descriptions, they're commands to your subconscious. Speak with clarity and conviction. Over time, your inner voice becomes your greatest ally instead of your harshest critic. Focus grows stronger when you take care of your energy. Nutrition and physical movement directly affect mental clarity. A tired mind is a doubtful mind. When you're exhausted, your brain seeks safety and avoids challenge. Take care of your body, and your focus sharpens naturally. Small routines like morning exercise, deep breathing, or quiet reflection give you the mental stability to handle stress without losing direction. To maintain focus in a noisy world, practice stillness. Silence is not emptiness, it's awareness. Take a few minutes daily to sit without distraction. Let thoughts come and go. This simple act teaches your mind not to chase every impulse. It builds patience, and patience strengthens focus. The more comfortable you become with stillness, the less control doubt has over you. Doubt thrives in chaos, but weakens in calm. Remember, focus isn't about controlling everything, it's about controlling attention. You can't stop challenges from coming, but you can choose where your energy goes. Focus on what you can influence. Focus on the next step. Focus on improvement, not perfection. When you live that way, progress becomes steady. You stop waiting for confidence to arrive. You build it through clarity. There's a deep peace that comes when your mind is clear. You wake up knowing what matters. You move through your day with purpose. You stop wasting energy on what others think or what could go wrong. You start building instead of worrying. Doubt can visit, but it can't stay. You've given your mind something stronger to hold, a clear, steady direction. The people who accomplish the most are not the ones who never question themselves. They're the ones who replace questioning with action, fear with focus, and hesitation with clarity. They've learned that the mind follows the path it's given. When you fill that path with purpose, doubt has nowhere to go. Every time you choose focus over fear, you train your mind to trust you a little more. Every time you stay committed, despite uncertainty, you become stronger. Replace doubt with clear focus, and you'll discover something remarkable. Life begins to respond. Opportunity align. People respect your certainty. Progress feels natural. You realize that you were never waiting for motivation. You were waiting for direction. And when your direction is clear, your potential becomes limitless.
Chapter 5. Think, growth, live with purpose. Growth is not a destination, it is a way of living. It's the decision to keep evolving, to keep learning, and to keep moving forward, no matter what life brings. To think growth and live with purpose means to wake up each day with a clear understanding that you are here for more than survival, you are here for expansion. Every day is a new opportunity to stretch your mind, strengthen your character, and bring meaning to everything you do. Growth gives life direction, and purpose gives it depth. Without them, you may exist, but you don't truly live. The moment you decide to grow, you begin to separate yourself from the ordinary.
Most people live on repeat. They wake up, go through the same motions, and never question if they're becoming better or just staying busy. Growth requires awareness. It asks you to stop and reflect. Am I improving, or am I just moving? That question alone can change your life. When you begin to think in terms of growth, every experience, good or bad, becomes an opportunity to get stronger, wiser, and more capable. Nothing is wasted because everything teaches you something. Purpose gives that growth direction. Without purpose, even progress can feel empty. You might